So good evening. Today we are starting at Kuntres, page Kuf Nun Gimel. Opposite of page 304. So that's 4 down, 1 to go. Tanya has 5 parts to it. Chassidim, they say, corresponding to the Chamisha Chumshei Torah. So how is it, what is the correspondence? I don't know. What's the connection between Kuntres and Chumash Devarim? But that's the Metzias. So, what is Kuntres? Welcome.
Thank you.
So this is something that we've spoken about this every time we started one of the parts of Tanya. We'll repeat. When the Alter Rebbe published Tanya, that was in the year 1796. 1796. Taf Kuf Nun Zayin.
How many years?
1796 is around 230 years ago. A little less. So, Tanya originally consisted of 2 parts. L'Kutei Amarim and Sharichut V'Amuna. L'Kutei Amarim, 53 prakim, which is all about Kikar V'Yelecha Adavram Yod B'Ficha L'Locha L'Asaysay. Saderech and Avodas Hashem. It's a way to overcome the Yetzirah, the Nafsham Hamas, and to be able to serve Hashem in Machshava, in Dibur, in Maisa, thought, speech, action, also B'Vavcha. What does it mean to be able to serve Hashem with one's feelings? And despite all the obstacles that present itself in that. That was the first part. And the second part was about Achdos Hashem, Sharichut V'Amuna, 12 prakim, 12 chapters, all about the unity of Hashem, and how the fact that there's a world, and the world seems to be a stira, a contradiction to Achdus Hashem, because how can we say there's only Hashem if there's a world? What is the nature of the world? What is the nature of creation? That is the second part of Tanya. Welcome. Or to put it in different words, what to do and what to believe. First part of Tanya is what to do and how to do it. And the second part is about our belief, or in Chassidic words we'd say Avodah and Haskalah. The first part of Tanya is Avodah Hashem, and the second part of Tanya is Haskalah, V'yadata Hayom, V'ashavesa L'Vavacha. Right, knowing, understanding the idea of what Hashem is, or at the very least understanding how much we don't understand. A few years later, in 1799, the Alter Rebbe republished Tanya, but this time he added a third part to it called Igeres HaTshuva. So now there are the 3 pillars of Tanya. There is what to do, what to think, and what to do when you mess up. That's the first 3 parts of Tanya. And this is Tanya until the Alter Rebbe passes away in the year 1812. Tanya is 3 parts. L'Kutei Amarim, Sharichut V'Amuna, Igeres HaTshuva, and then the Alter Rebbe passes away. The year after the Alter Rebbe passes away, the Tanya is republished, this time by the 3 sons of the Alter Rebbe, led by his oldest son, the Mittler Rebbe, Rabbi. And when they published it, and if you don't mind turning for a second to page Daled, to page Gimel and Tanya. So you see over here, Haskamas Harabanim Sheyichia B'nei Hagoyin HaMechaber Zchein Levracha Nesmasi Eden. This is, again, this is in 1814, the year after the Alter Rebbe passes away. So they reprint Tanya and they write their Haskama. Now you can ask why are children, the Alter Rebbe, you can ask why are children writing Haskama for their father's Sefer? Okay, so Haskama is known time a little different. Haskama had a function of, number one, telling everyone not to reprint the Sefer, because not to cause loss to the publishers. But also, if you look at the first words, Hayesha Huskam Etzleinu, we gave permission. Haskama. This is the permission was given to print the Tanya again. But more importantly, what they write over here is that they added 2 parts to the Tanya. What are the 2 parts to the Tanya? So if you go down 5 lines, he says, Ubishem Igeres HaKodesh Nikru. Okay, so the one part is Igeres HaKodesh. Sherubim Hayu Igres Shaluach Ve'es Kveit Kedushasei. Most of them are letters that were sent by the Alter Rebbe. To teach the nation of Hashem the path in which to go and the way to behave. So you notice he says most of his letters, because we finished the Igeres HaKodesh. We know that not all of them There's probably 7 or 8 of the pieces that are not letters. They're just things that they're writings of the Alter Rebbe. And then they say, Umachmas, and because Shebekama Mekoimis Kitziv Loi Tziyunim V'Sefer L'Kutei Amarim Shaloi. Also in the Igeres HaKodesh, many times the Alter Rebbe refers to what he writes in L'Kutei Amarim. V'Divri Torah Aniyim B'Makom Echad V'Ashirim B'Makom Acher. We know that it's brought down the words of Torah. One place they're poor, and another place they're rich. In other words, one place up is poor. A concept is not elaborated upon and explained so extensively. In another place, it's rich. So therefore, some things that are in L'Kutei Amarim are poor. In Igeres HaKodesh, they're rich. So that's why they decided to print Igeres HaKodesh together with the Tanya. And then they write, Umagam, there's something else. There's something new, which we added into this new Tanya, which is Kuntres Acharon. Kuntres Acharon is, I don't know how to translate it exactly into English, our last booklet. But Kuntres Acharon, Al Eza Prakim. So this is really, Kuntres Acharon is on some of the Prakim, Masher Kosav Be'ez Chiburi HaSefer L'Kutei Amarim. Kuntres Acharon was written by the Alter Rebbe when he was writing L'Kutei Amarim. Pilpul v'iyun amuk. What is Kuntres Acharon? It is a pilpul and very deep delving. Al mamari hazoyar ve'etz chaim u'pri etz chaim. The statements in the Zohar and the statements of the Arizal, which are in the Eitz Chaim, the Pri Eitz Chaim. Shanirim kesesrim zaza. There are certain statements in the Zohar and the Eitz Chaim, Pri Eitz Chaim, and it seems that they are contradicting one another.
Who wrote the Eitz Chaim?
Sorry.
Who wrote the Eitz Chaim?
Reb Chaim Betal. He wrote both of them.
Oh, he's Tanya.
Yeah, but these are called Kisvi Arizal, the writings of the Arizal. U'beruach mevinasing with the Alter Rebbe's wisdom. Miyashvam, the Alter Rebbe reconciles all of these different, what seems to be contradictions. Kol dibur alifanav. Every single statement makes sense on its own base. Shekosav L'Kutei Amarim, and that is the foundation for what he writes in L'Kutei Amarim. So roi ra'u re'inu. We saw Sheroi v'nachim l'chabram im Sefer L'Kutei Amarim, to add it to the Sefer L'Kutei Amarim v'Igeres HaTshuva shal kvei kedushas adinenu avinu bereinu v'rabbeinu zechenu lavracha. So here they write what Kuntres Acharon is all about. Kuntres Acharon is when the Alter Rebbe was writing Tanya. So the Tanya, the L'Kutei Amarim, the L'Kutei Amarim is based on Kabbalah, and the Kabbalah, the primary sources in Kabbalah are the Zohar and the writings of the Arizal. Now the Alter Rebbe reaches certain important conclusions in L'Kutei Amarim, and these are based on the Zohar. However, the problem is that if you look in the Zohar and the writings of the Arizal, very often there seems to be statements that are contradicting one another. So in order for the Alter Rebbe to write Tanya, L'Kutei Amarim, he had to resolve these issues, understand them well, and then to write the Tanya. So as he was writing Tanya, on the side, the Alter Rebbe wrote this Kuntres Acharon, notes for himself, which is resolving the different areas in Kabbalah which were necessary for him to, be malabin, for him to understand well and to make sense out of in order to reach the conclusions he arrived at in L'Kutei Amarim.
Is there a version of the Zohar that has, like the Mikos Gedolos, that it has the Zohar as the text, and it has the Arizal and the Baal Tanya as Meforshim on it?
Not that I know of. So now we understand what Kuntres Acharon is. Kuntres Acharon is, and are the notes the Alter Rebbe wrote for himself, and the Alter Rebbe in fact did not publish them. He didn't publish. They were published by his children. And the style, it's very deep Kabbalah, because again, the Alter Rebbe is going to delve into the Zohar and into the works of Eitz Chaim and Pri Eitz Chaim, and it's not. When you read it, you get the sense that it's not written for us. It's almost like the Alter Rebbe was writing it for himself. Very difficult to understand. So the next few chapters that we're going to be learning are without a doubt the most difficult chapters in Tanya. And we're going to try to do the best that we can with the limited knowledge and information that we have to try to make sense of it to the best of our ability. However, Kuntres Acharon has 9 chapters to it. Also, interestingly, the first 4 parts of Tanya are all numbered. The chapters, the prakim are numbered. In Kuntres Acharon, we don't have numbering, but there are 9 different sections. If you look at the end of Tanya, on the page, look on page 326. In Tanya, so you see, Kuntres Acharon, and you see how you have the 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You see there's 9 sections of Kuntres Acharon.
Page 326.
Yeah, and the first 5 chapters of Kuntres Acharon, from Akari Sipuri Maisius till Prati Halachas L'Shchichi. That's Kabbalah, and that is the basis of what is described by the children of the Alter Rebbe, by the sons of the Alter Rebbe, as the Alter Rebbe, the Pilpul in Kabbalah, which was the basis for a lot of the ideas he writes in Likutei Amarim. And then you have 4 chapters, David's Miris, the Tzedakah Kanachal Esan, Hini Elei Tova, Necheach Tichiach, which are very much along the style of Igeres HaKodesh. In fact, the last 3 are letters from the Alter Rebbe, and David's Miris is a concept in Chassidus that the Alter Rebbe wrote, and it's difficult to understand why those are included in Kuntres Acharon as opposed to in Igeres HaKodesh, along the style of Igeres HaKodesh. In fact, in one of the printings of the Tanya, these 4 are part of Igeres HaKodesh, not Kuntres Acharon. That's the Nekud. The bottom line is, that's what Kuntres Acharon is. Again, the 5 chapters of Kabbalah, 4 chapters which are more similar and along the style of the Igeres HaKodesh, which we just finished.
Did he put in a tzavah that it should be published?
Not that we know of. So,
He was alive when they put the contrast, the sons.
no, the Igeres HaKodesh and Kuntres Acharon were published a year after the Alter Rebbe passed away.
After.
Yeah. So, these 5 chapters of Kuntres Acharon, the first 5 chapters, by the way, 4 of them are quite short. One of them is very long. Aleph, Beis, Gimel, and Hey are short. Daled is going to be a very, very long chapter. So these 5 chapters are in Kabbalah. They're different chapters, but they're all revolve around the same few prakim in Tanya and the same idea. And that is, we're talking here about the prakim, pretty much Lamed Hey through Perek Mem. So we have our 6 chapters of Tanya. And in those chapters of Tanya, the Alter Rebbe talks about the dichotomy. And we know that in Yiddishkeit, there are 2 very important things. There is mitzvahs maisius, importance of doing mitzvahs. And then besides for mitzvahs maisius, there's also kavana. And as we've discussed many times when we learned Likutei Amarim, when the Alter Rebbe talks about kavana, he doesn't mean mindfulness, he doesn't mean knowing what you're doing as opposed to doing something mindlessly. Rather than when the Alter Rebbe talks about kavana, he means the motivation, the feeling behind the mitzvah. The avas Hashem that motivates you to do mitzvahs, the yiras Hashem that causes you not to do any averis. So that's the kavana. Kavana is very important. Mitzvahs maisis are very important. And what is the function of each one of them? Why do we need maisa? Why do we need kavana? So in short, the Alter Rebbe explains that the reason why Hashem created this world is because He wants, as we all know, we've spoken many times, Hashem wants a dira b'tachtonim. He wants that our physical world, which is the lowliest possible realm that there is, our world, He wants it to be a holy place. And how do we make it holy? We make it holy through doing mitzvahs, action mitzvahs, which involve the physical world. And every time we do a mitzvah in this physical world, we are making that object holy, we're drawing holiness upon it, and this way we are fulfilling Hashem's desire for Bria So'ilumis, for the creation of the entire universe. And that's why Hamaisa, Hua Iker, Le'amedesh, Hua Iker, Ela Maisa, the main thing is Maisa, and everything's about Maisa.
Action.
And as Alter Rebbe says, right, even when you're learning Torah, you weren't Yoitza, unless you say the words physical, using your physical mouth and your physical tongue and teeth. Just thinking Torah is not enough. And Avas Hashem and Yiras Hashem is not enough because these aren't physical, and our job is to sanctify the physical. That's what the Alter Rebbe...
When you have element happens to sanctify the physical, the element Elyon is nothing to sanctify. Who's sanctifying the element Elyon? So what's the purpose of the element Elyon? Malachim and Acharon, they're going to bring it up?
All of the worlds exist for the purpose of our world. This is a concept called Seder Yishtalshalos, which means that there's the light of Hashem has to come down and become progressively less and less and less in order for it to enter this world. So the higher worlds are simply steps in that process which allows for the creation of our world, and our world is the kavanah, and making our world into a holy place is the kavanah. So that's what the Alter Rebbe talks about in Prakim Lamed Hey, Lamed Vav, and Lamed Zayin. And then the Alter Rebbe says, okay, so if that's the case, then kavanah is meaningless. If The whole purpose is to do a mitzvah, and when doing a mitzvah, action mitzvah, is bringing godliness here into this world. Then why do we have to have kavanah? Why would kavanah be important? So Alter Rebbe, you might want to say he doesn't have about face, but not really. Alter Rebbe says, no. Kavanah is very important. Kavanah, the way the Alter Rebbe talks about it in Perek Mem, the kavanah we have when we do a mitzvah. Again, kavanah being the Avos Hashem, the Yiras Hashem. The Alter Rebbe compares them to gadfin, to wings. They are the wings that take our mitzvah down here and allow it to soar to the higher worlds and unite with the godliness that is revealed over there. Otherwise, our mitzvah, we did a mitzvah, great, and mitzvah is the Ratzon of Hashem, but that mitzvah remains, so to say, stuck here in this world. In order for the mitzvah to go up and to unite over there with the elukus, the godliness in the higher worlds, for that we need to have kavanah. So that's what Alter Rebbe talks about, and the first 5 chapters of Kuntres Acharon are going to be dissecting this based on all the sources in Kabbalah. We're going to be understanding the exact function of action, the exact function of thinking, the exact function of feelings, the exact function of speech. It's really 4 different realms that we have over here: feelings, thoughts, speech, action, and also, with, as we said, the Alter Rebbe is going to resolve the various statements in Kabbalah regarding these which seem to be contradicting one another. And without further ado, let's do insight. L'havin, the Alter Rebbe says, to understand, how is it that someone who reads the stories in the Torah is connected with Chachma Ilah, with Hashem's supernal wisdom? What's the question here? The question is as follows. You're reading a story in the Torah. So let's say you read a story. It says, today is the yahrzeit of Rachel Imenu. So we read a story. Yaakov, he arrives in Acharon, and it's by a well, and he sees Rachel, and he goes over to Rachel, and he gives Rachel a kiss. So imagine you reading that story in the Torah. Okay, imagine this guy, he went and goes and gives Rachel a kiss. The truth is that story is only, that's not Chachmei Ilah, that's not Hashem's wisdom. Yes, it really happened, by the way. It really happened. But what's really going on over here? So if you learn in Tanya and Perek Mem, Alter Rebbe explains, Yaakov, as we know, he represents the Midas HaRachmim of Hashem. And Rachel represents the idea of Knesset Yisrael. She represents all Klal Yisrael. And Yaakov kissing Rachel is Yaakov bringing down Hashem's Rachmim on Klal Yisrael. So this story, the physical story, is only it's like an external shell of the real deep wisdom that's inside there. I mean, you have other stories in the Torah. And the Parshas Vayishlach, you have the whole Eila HaMalachim, right? You have the kings that were the kings, the 8 kings that were the kings in Seir before Esav arrived. And it goes, Vayimlech, Vayamas, right? This guy, that guy, the other guy. Like, who in the world cares? Why are we here 4,000 years later reading about the kings, not even the kings of Esav? These are the kings that preceded Esav. Or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they are the kings of Esav. Al Kapana. And if they are the kings of Esav, still, the question still remains. You look in Kabbalah and you find out these kings of Esav, these are the spheres of the world of Toyu. Vayimlech Vayamas, every single one of them, they reigned. Not rain that falls from heaven. They reigned, right? They ruled. Vayamas, then there's a Shviras HaKelim. Each one of them, they exploded, leaving behind, shards and shreds of netzitzis. So this is deep stuff. But imagine you just read that parsha and so the king was born, the king died, the king ruled, the king died. That's not the Chachma Yena. Not the Chachma Yena. So how is it that someone reads the Torah? How are you connecting to the Chachma Yena? Now, if I'm learning Halach and Shulchan Aruch, so I'm learning halacha and shulchan that you have to do this. The truth is, every single halacha, just as it exists over here in the physical world, every single halacha also exists in the spiritual world. It exists in a higher level.
It comes here, El Shemais Olivas, so this is before.
No, this is the Adam, so it's not Adam. Yeah. Earlier on it talks about the Bnei Seir, but Dishan Chamdan, that's Seir. But the point remains, we find it all about the Malachim of Seir, the Malachim of Adam. So, I'm learning halacha Every halacha that I'm learning down here has deeper spiritual significance. And if I'm learning only the halacha in the Shulchan Aruch, and I don't know what the deeper significance is, I'm missing out on the deeper element of it. But at the same time, the halacha as expressed in Shulchan Aruch is the Hashem's Ratzon. Actually, Hashem wants me in this world to put on a pair of tzitzis, which is made out of wool, and He wants it to be tied in this way, and He wants it to be spun in that way, right? And He wants that if two strings tear, the halacha should be this. That's what the Eibishter wants. Are there higher levels of this? Also, yeah. But even the halacha, as we learn it in Shulchan Aruch, is also Hashem's Chachma and Hashem's Ratzon. The stories in the Torah are different. Over there, the stories on their own have no significance. It's irrelevant. The kings of Esav are irrelevant. Their significance is that there's something much deeper, a deeper truth, a deeper reality, a deeper Kabbalah that it's meant to convey. And if I don't have that Kabbalah, that Kabbalah, I don't understand it, then what am I accomplishing by reading that story? That's what the Rabbi says. You have to understand. How is it that someone who's just reading the stories in the Torah, who mekusher b'chachmei law, is connected to chachmei law, the supernal wisdom? The Rebbe says, "Al pi mashakasu b'kavanis." It's a sefer hakavanis from the Arizal, and it's written over there in Daf Tes Zayin Amud Beis. It says over there that K'meisha Adam Isik Lamata, just like a person, as a person is learning Torah down here, Kach Diyukin Ha'adam Elyon Lamaylo. The same thing is the Sheidish of your neshama, the source of the soul above, is also learning.
The same thing?
Same thing. So you're sitting here and you're reading a Chumash, and you're reading the story of Yaakov kissing Rachel, but your Sheidish and Neshama is also learning. But it's learning what its learning is. It's learning the deeper ideas. It's learning the Kabbalah behind it. And at the end of the day, because it's one Neshama, yes, there's the Neshama that's in your body, but there's the source of the Neshama, but ultimately it's one entity. So therefore, you are being connected right now through the source of your Neshama with Chachmei Law, with Hashem's Chachma. The Alter Rebbe says, this is what we say, Behirur, Be'eis Exodus. If you're not reading it, if you're not articulating the words, but if you're only thinking about it, you're reading it with your eyes and your mind. Aval Hadibur, but what if you're actually saying the words of the story? Yeshleim, Alter Rebbe says, over here, we can say, Debekea V'Saluk Latzilus Mamish. Over here, no. Over here, we don't say that the reason why you're connected to the Eibishter, is because your neshama, the sheirush and neshama above, is also learning it. Now, here's something else. What the Rebbe is going to tell us is that it says in Zohar in many different places that our words, baka avirin, words by definition, any words that we say, they pierce the heavens and they go up, and they have an effect in the heavens. And by the way, this is true not only words of Torah, not only but words of davening, but every word, even if we're saying words that are lashon hara also, or just stam words, words are actions, and words, they pierce the heavens and they go up. How far do the words go up? So it says, our words can go up to Atzilus Mamish, all the way to the world of Atzilus. Oi, or Libria, or they go up to Bria, B'dchilu or Rechimu Sichli. If the person has Avas Hashem and Yiras Hashem, a love and an awe for Hashem, which are intellectual based, Oi, or Liyitzira. They go up to the world of Yitzira, B'dchilu or Rechimu Tiviyim. If a person has Ava and Yira, but they are natural Ava and Yira, not intellectual based, and if you're just saying the Chumash, then it goes up to the Yutzfiris of Asiya, Mishum debaka avidin v'chulu, because it pierces the heavens.
According to this, when you learn, you have to say it loud. You cannot say it for yourself.
No, you just have to articulate it. As long as you're saying the words, you're actually moving your lips and there's a sound coming out, that's fine.
Well, you need the sound.
Yeah, you need the sound, but you don't have to scream it. Right, Sheldon? We don't have to scream the davening. As long as you're saying the words and they're...
As long as you're articulating the words.
And they're audible.
Saying them. Audible to who?
To yourself.
Yeah, to yourself, so that's...
That's what I just said. So... We'll go tell him that he's being heard inside. So, thank you. I think he finished. I think he finished with that Rav in Sasan. הוא גמר. אני חושב שהוא גמר. Okay. So what's the Alter Rebbe saying over here? This is something that we spoke about at length in Likutei Amarim, that we said that the Ava V'Yira are the wings that take up the Torah and mitzvahs that take it up to the heavens. But where? To which level? So we say there are 4 different levels with which a person can do mitzvahs or learn Torah. The highest level with which a person can learn Torah and do mitzvahs is even higher actually than Ava V'Yira. It's even higher than conventional love and awe of Hashem. The greatest tzaddikim, they don't serve Hashem with Ava and Yira. Why? Because when you turn to Hashem and say, I love you, or I fear you, I'm in awe of you, there's a problem over there. What's the problem? The first word in the statement. I. When Shayna Metzias, and the moment you're a Metzias, so this can't be utterly united with the Lakus in the world of Atzilus, because the world of Atzilus is the world of Bittul. The greatest tzaddikim are the ones who can't say the word I, because they do not feel an I. These are the tzaddikim who are, as explained in Kabbalah and Chassidus, they're on the level of a Merkava. Which a Merkava, a chariot, the fact that it goes one way or another way, you're riding a chariot, okay, today we could have to change it to a car, right? A car. So my car took me to take me to Crown Heights tonight. The snapshot that I went to my car and say, hey, are you fine with taking me to Crown Heights? And I said, yeah, sure, hop on in. Okay, I'll take you to Crown Heights. It's not even shot that I went to my car and says, I don't care whether you want to take me to Crown Heights or not. Okay, you're going to do what I'm telling you, right?
I'm the boss.
You want to go for pizza in Borough Park. I know. No, we're going to Crown Heights, right? No. The car doesn't have ratzon, doesn't have its own ratzon. It's being driven by its rider.
But nowadays everything is iPad, iPhone.
Today,
It's I.
Yeah. The I generation. The greatest tzaddikim are Merkava, they don't have a ratzon. There's no, I want to do this. I want to do a mitzvah. I don't want to do a mitzvah. I'll do it anyways. They're being driven by the Eibishter. It's bittul b'mitzvah. It's completely bittul. When a person does mitzvahs on that madriga, those mitzvahs go up all the way into the world of Atzilus, which is the world of bittul. Then the next world after Atzilus is the world of Bria. The world of Bria, we know, is the world of Bina. It's the world where the Eibishter's intellect is revealed. It is manifest.
More bina. Yes.
That is correct. So in the world of Bria, because it's the world of intellect, when I do a mitzvah with Ava V'Yira, but the Ava V'Yira is based on my intellect, in other words, I learned about the greatness of Hashem, I contemplated the greatness of Hashem, and I developed the Ava V'Yira, and because of that I do mitzvahs, so because my Ava V'Yira are intellectually based, the mitzvahs are taken up all the way into the world of Bria. If I do mitzvahs and with Ava V'Yira, but they're not intellectually based, they're just the natural Ava and Yira that a Yid has for Hashem, then my mitzvahs go up to the world of Yitzira, because the world of Yitzira is the world where Hashem's midas are revealed. And what if I do a mitzvah and I have no Ava V'Yira? I simply have Kabbalah self. I accept the yoke of heaven. I want to go and get pizza, instead I go to the Beis Medrash and I learn Torah. Now, there's no Ava V'Yira, Kabbalah self. Then my Torah and mitzvahs goes up all the way until the world of Asiya. Because the world of Asiya is the world of Asiya, the world of action, right? So when I say words of Torah, so then the connection to Hashem is not by way of, because my neshama above is learning the Torah. That's only if I'm thinking, because if I'm thinking, then the way I connect to Hashem is because the diyukan of the diyukan ha'adam ha'elyon, the shayrish, the root of my neshama is learning the Torah and connecting. But if, on the other hand, if I'm doing a mitzvah and I'm saying the words, so then baka avirin, then the mitzvah itself is connected to Hashem. Not my source of my neshama is connected to Hashem. The mitzvah itself, or the words that I'm saying, are connected to Hashem. To what level of elokus, what level of godliness? So as he says, depends what my kavanah is when I'm saying it. Ma'ashenkin behirur, as opposed to if you're only thinking. So ella had yukon, when you're thinking, it's only that the yukon, true sheirish nesmase v'chulu, the sheirish of your neshama is right now connected to Hashem's chachma. But the Zohar Chelik Gimel, page 105, it says over there, the Hidruli of it midi chulu. It says that by thinking, nothing is accomplished. So what the Alter Rebbe just said that even when you think that your neshama above also was learning the Torah, right, the Diyukan, and therefore you're connected to Chachma Hashem's chachma through the fact that your neshama above is learning the Torah. However, in the Zohar it says that thought itself doesn't do anything. By the way, what is that? What is the context of the Zohar over there? So there the Zohar is talking about Shabbos. On Shabbos we're not supposed to do any malacha. And then there is a greater idea on Shabbos. Not only you're not supposed to do any malacha, but we're also not supposed to talk, right? This Shabbos Geret. This Shabbos Geret means on Shabbos you're not supposed to talk about it. Not this Shabbos Geret, you talk about it, but this Shabbos Geret means the Shabbos you're not supposed to talk about it, right? Good. But then the Zohar says, but if you want to think about your work on Shabbos, that's fine. Why? The Zohar says, because hirur li'avad midi. Thinking doesn't do anything. Thought can't hurt anyone. So you might want to say, 1 second, okay, that's because the thought it's a bad thought. Maybe a bad thought doesn't do anything. But if I'm thinking Torah, that's a good thing. So the Alter Rebbe says, no. The fact that a thought doesn't accomplish anything is not only in a negative sense, but even if it's a good thought. Ayin Sham, if you take a look in the Zohar over there, you'll see the Zohar is talking notes about good thoughts, and also B'daf Lamed Aleph from the base, and also in the Zohar, page 31a. So do thoughts do anything, or do thoughts not do anything? Yes, Shleimer is Alter Rebbe's answer. This is the kind of stitus. Remember we said that Alter Rebbe the Pulpulim to answer this stitus. Shleimer. By the way, you have the words Yesh Shleimer over here, right? To the best of my knowledge, I don't believe that anywhere else in Tanya, other than in Kuntres Acharon, Alter Rebbe uses the words Yesh Shleimer. It's even the style is even a different. It's like it's more of a lamdish. The writing style is a more lamdish writing style. When the Zohar says that thoughts don't do anything, it means that we do not awaken anything above to bring down a flow of energy down here into this world. Sorry?
So it's on a spiritual level. The other Indian's a halachic level about thinking about things on Shabbos. It's two different inyanim.
The Zohar, everything in the Zohar is on a spiritual level.
Yes, but I mean, you could make a chiluk between technical halacha on one thing and pure spirit. The Zohar is talking on a ruchnius level, not technically is it us or a mutter, but on something much more cosmic.
And he says over there that thoughts don't accomplish anything.
Yeah.
But the Alter Rebbe, we just said that thoughts do accomplish something. So how do you reconcile it? That's what Alter Rebbe is trying to explain. So he says that when the Zohar says thoughts don't accomplish anything, that means that with our thoughts we cannot dislodge anything. We cannot awaken any energies from above to enter here in this world. Rather, your thoughts can connect to Hashem, and through your thoughts, the source of your neshama can connect to Hashem. But the thoughts all will remain in the higher worlds. And in the higher worlds, it causes a great revelation. And you cause a tremendous light in the world of Atzilus. These words are hard to understand what the Rebbe is saying over here, because the Rebbe is talking about thought, not about actions. But apparently he's saying it's the thought that goes along with the actions, although I'm not sure. The main yichud that we need to make is to our thoughts, the yichudim, the bringing together the different energies. That is from the thoughts. We receive the dividends. Some of that energy flows down here. We bring down the flow of energy a little bit down here. And that's that requires either speaking or an action. As opposed to if we're only thinking, then you're not bringing anything down. And that's why you have not discharged your obligation. Why if you, in other words, according to halacha, if you think the words of Shema, you think the words of davening, or think the words of Torah, so you didn't do the mitzvah. If you did the Shema in your thoughts, you didn't do the mitzvah. If you just thought words of Torah, so according to halacha, you don't have to make a bracha Torah before thinking, because every time before you do a mitzvah, you have to make a bracha. But before you think Torah, you don't have to make a bracha. Why don't you have to make a bracha? Because the mitzvah requires speaking. In fact, there are certain places even where you're not allowed to speak words of Torah. You're not allowed to do the mitzvah of Talmud Torah, but you're allowed to think words of Torah. Why is it that when you think the words of Torah, you have not done the mitzvah? Because what is the purpose of our coming down here into this world? Is to bring light down here into this world. And since the only way to bring light down here into this world is dafka through Maisa, or Dibor. So therefore, if you did it only by Machshava, you weren't Yetzer. And therefore, you did not fulfill the obligation for which your neshama comes down here to this world. Which is what? Why did your neshama come down here? Is rak lahamshech eres el yenim lamata, to bring down here to this world the higher lights, k'meshakasa be'etz chayim shar chavav, as it says in Eitz Chaim, chapter 26, lahamshech eir, to bring down the light. So what do we have up until now? We explain that to bring down the light, for that we need dibur or machshava. We need to have either speaking or action. Or maisa, sorry. Dibur or maisa, either speaking or action. But machshava alone, thoughts alone, or feelings alone cannot bring anything down here into this world. And that's why we're not Yitzhak. On the other hand, what did we say? That at the end of the day, when you learn Torah, even if it's only in your thoughts, to say you're not accomplishing anything also isn't true. What are you accomplishing? That the shayrish of your neshama is involved in heaven and learning Torah. It adds taka oir. It causes an increase in the energy in the higher worlds, but it doesn't have an impact over here in this world. To have an impact in this world, for that we need either Dibur or Maisa. That's when it comes to bringing down the light here into this world. Aval, however, how about the idea of the opposite, taking our mitzvahs and making them go to the higher worlds? Who dafka al yidei machshava teva. That is dafka through a good thought, which through a good thought in Tanya is not a good thought, but that's dafka the avavira. The belay dechilu or rechimu. Because without loving Hashem, the love of Hashem and awe of Hashem, our mitzvahs cannot fly above. As Arizal writes in Shar Nevuah, the second chapter. He writes that the machshava teva is necessary in order to elevate our mitzvahs to the higher world. So to elevate, so what do we have so far? To bring down the light, for that we need Dibur or Maisa. But to bring up our mitzvahs, for that we need machshava, that we need the feelings. 1 second, but didn't we just say earlier that every time that we say something, it pierces the heavens? So I don't need them. So I don't need the feeling or the machshava in order to elevate it. It seems to be a contradiction. Remember, we started off saying that every time you say something, that pierces the heavens and goes up. Here we're saying that the only way something goes up is dafka if you have the feelings, the machshava teva. The Rebbe says, that which we said earlier, we said it in the Zohar, that every time you speak, so it pierces the heavens. And that is true even if there is no feeling. Your actual words pierce the heavens. The Rebbe, you see like a whole pilpul over. The Zohar, when the Zohar says that your words pierce the heavens, it's not talking about Torah. It's talking about Dvarim B'Telem. It's talking about how careful we have to be not to talk Dvarim B'Telem. Because every time you speak words, they pierce the heavens. Now, if Dvarim B'Telem pierce the heavens, and obviously there is no Av V'Yira in the Dvarim B'Telem, so my words of Torah also pierce the heavens, even if I don't have Av V'Yira. So why are we saying over here that in order to lift up the mitzvahs all the way to the higher worlds, I need Av V'Yira? Words themselves automatically go to heavens. Then the Alter Rebbe adds in a parenthesis. He says, He says, you know what? I don't like that proof that I just gave. The proof from the Dvarim B'Telem. Why? The Gam Sham Yesh Eze Taiva. He says the reason why Dvarim B'Telem pierce the heavens is because there's feelings behind there also. Why would you speak Dvarim B'Telem?
Enjoy it.
You enjoy it. So there's a taiva. So that enjoyment is the feeling which pushes it up. So maybe, Taka, you do need a feeling to push something up. And the reason why Dvarim B'Telem go up, because there's a feeling also. But if you learn Torah without a feeling, it doesn't pierce the heavens. And then he says, B'nuscha achra lesa tevas elo.
What would the Dvarim B'Telem do up in heaven?
Damage.
So it's either way. It's either good or bad, but they go. Go up.
Yeah. If you turn earlier on in Tanya, in Perek Mem, look at the bottom of page Nundal, opposite of page 106. The Haggah. No, opposite of page 106. There you go. In the Haggadah in the bottom left. Every word that you say, Salka, goes up, it pierces the heavens, and it awakens whatever it awakens. Itav tav, if it's a good word, it awakens something good, chulu, etc. In other words, it doesn't, right? That's, and then he continues, another few, and says, another place in there, Mila da'iraisa isatim in ekala, a word of Torah. So a voice is made of it, Vesalik, and also it goes up to heaven. And then also, Kol and da'iraisa, the voice of daven, of learning, which slois on davening, bak and riki, and they pierce the heavens. And then the Alter Rebbe says, the midah teva meruba. If the varim b'teilim pierce the heavens, so we know there's always a rule that good is more powerful than bad. So for sure, words of Torah are going to pierce the heavens. So why are we saying they need the machshava teva? Why are you saying they need the kavana in order for the words to go up? Alter Rebbe says, Hainu rikiin dafka. Yes, a word by itself pierces the heavens. What does that mean? Sheheina ichalas va'abatim. They go up to heavens to where the chambers, the houses over there in heavens. In order for the words of Torah, the mitzvah, to unite with the body of Hashem, and certainly, we're not talking about the body, but the soul of Hashem. The body is the kelim, right? The soul is the iris. Even in the lowest level, the 10 spheres of Atzilus Shar. For that, you need to have Ava v'Yira. That's why it says in Tikkun Yezer, the blade dechilu rechimu, without Ava v'Yira leyachlo l'salako l'meikam kadam Hashem dafka. Ava v'Yira, yes, you can go up to heaven, but if to be in front of Hashem, to unite with Hashem, for that you need to have Ava v'Yira. So let's.
That would only be by good things.
Let's summarize what we learned today. And you got a taste what we're going to be doing for the next little while. This kind of pilpul and Kabbalah. So we found out like this. If you have a thought alone or a feeling alone, it doesn't accomplish anything in this world. First of all, nothing is brought down, no energy is brought down here into this world. And obviously nothing goes up to Hashem because there is nothing to go up. The only way something can go up, there has to be something physical, a physical action or physical words. So our thoughts have impact. They have an impact in the higher worlds, but since our job here in this world is not to have an impact on the higher worlds, our job ultimately in this world is to bring down the energy into this world. Therefore, to do a mitzvah, it has to be an action mitzvah. In order to bring down the energy, you need action or speech. In order for our mitzvahs to go up, our mitzvahs and Torah, they go up automatically. But in order for them to go up and to connect with the elokus in the higher worlds, not only to be in the chambers of the higher worlds, but to connect to the godliness in the higher worlds, for that you need to have what the Alter Rebbe calls a machshava teva. For that you need to have the Ava v'Yira. So we see over here, we know that this is something which is over the generations, was always a big, the philosopher has talked about it. What is the main thing? Is the thought the main thing? The feelings the main thing? Is the action is the main thing? We know the Sefer HaChinuch takes a very strong stance that the main thing is the kavanah. In fact, something, an idea he says many times, that Acharon pullus dem shachas olavavos. The reason why we're doing the actions of the mitzvahs is because that's what gets us kavanah. Why do we have to eat matzah on Pesach? Why can't we just say the Haggadah? If we want to remember and he says, because you can't compare, when you actually eat something, our actions have an impact on us. What?
You have a feeling.
Impacts us. Yeah. So according to that way of understanding, so what's the main thing? The main thing, Taka, is the kavanah and the machshava. And Kabbalah disagrees. Kabbalah, we have a very clear, the Alter Rebbe is based on what? That ultimately the main thing is the action. And why is that? Because the Eibishter wants, the main thing is to bring down the iris, the energies here in this world, and that happens through the actions. At the same time, it doesn't mean that kavanah is nothing. You look at many Memorei Chassidus of the Alter Rebbe, you have a whole mimer talking about the mile of machshava and the mile of kavanah. And why is that? Because ultimately, in order to take our actions over here and to elevate them to a higher world and have them unite with the godliness in higher worlds, that needs a kavanah.
It's HaKadosh Baruch Hu need our tefillin, our shema, every eat we eat with say bracha. He doesn't need it. You make an action, you make a bracha, can elevate to Shemayim, everything.
And what does he need in that?
Huh?
And why does he need that?
Why need that? That's a good question.
You said that by mitzvos you need Av and Yira to bring it up to the very top, and by Torah, just read it aloud.
Oh no, the same thing. And you need to have the Ava V'yira also
So it's because in some prior mimer of the Baal Tanya, he said that mitzvos and Torah are two different things, but here we're saying it's across the board, both by mitzvos and Torah. You know, so not just reading when you're learning, but having a kavanah of av and yira when you're learning aloud.
Torah and mitzvahs are definitely different things. And different places, Tanya talks about the difference in Torah and mitzvahs, but at the same time, in terms of what we're talking about right now, they're the same, which is that in order for it to be, the words of the Zohar, l'salaka olamekam kadam Hashem, for our Torah mitzvahs to go to the higher worlds and actually unite with the Elokus, the godliness in those worlds, for that we need to have Ava and Yir. With that, we finish this chapter. I know it's a little early. And Mir Hashem, next week we will learn the next chapter, which, as you see, is also a short one.